Restaurant owners in Newton got the chance to speak in front of the Committee of the Whole to describe how their businesses are suffering during the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 in 5 restaurants in the state have closed, and there will be more closures over the next few months, especially with winter coming.
These are really dire times for our restaurants.
Even with 51% of Newton businesses receiving PPP loans, the chances of survival over the next few months are growing dim. Counselors on the Committee of the Whole listen to restaurant owners to hear the challenges they are facing. As president of the Newton Needham Regional Chamber explains, it's not just restaurants who will be affected in the long term.
If we lose restaurants, I think we all know we lose something that we really cherish and value. We value them. It's part of what makes Newton special. We also, of course, lose property tax revenue and meals tax revenue, but we also lose probably likely other businesses. Our restaurants might be able to survive without our retail stores, but a lot of our small retail shops will not survive if there's not the foot traffic from restaurants and the vitality from restaurants. We will see empty storefronts for many years because there's no businesses waiting to open in any large number behind them.
According to Reedman, the city has been reluctant to help in reducing or eliminating fees, slow in implementing outdoor dining after it was approved in June, and slow to hear about creative solutions from other communities.
Needham, the community I know best, has cut liquor fees. They're going to also cut their common victular fees. We understand they have the option to do that. They've set up attractive public dining spaces. They've purchased street banners to promote dining and shopping locally. And many other things they've really done. They've been so much more proactive in Needham than many municipalities across the state, but they're not alone here. Here's a couple examples. East Longmeadow launched a program that funded public art to beautify 22 outdoor dining areas. Fitchburg reimagined Commercial Street as a pedestrian-only street. Gardner created outdoor dining opportunities in 2 downtown locations. These areas serve not just restaurants, but waiting areas for customers who are going to barber shops, hair and nail salons. Greenfield created outdoor dining at 7 locations and temporarily closed streets for use by pedestrians. Marblehead provided umbrellas, tents, planters, chairs, tables, jersey barriers, and portable ramps to accommodate outdoor dining and sidewalks and in portions of the streets. Topsfield installed 2 semi-permanent parklets, outdoor seating, and solar powered lamps. Worcester also converted streets to pedestrian only, and Boston and other communities have waived the cost of permits for propane heaters so that the restaurants can provide outdoor warmer venues for their customers. And then if you go to Arlington, Cambridge, you'll see signs that the cities have put up, the municipalities have put up, encouraging customers to shop locally. And then right next door to us, there's Waltham. And Waltham, if you've been to Moody Street, you'll see what they've done there.
Waltham's idea of closing Moody Street started last year by closing down parts of the street for the farmers market. Once the pandemic hit, Mayor Jeanette McCarthy became proactive in closing down Moody Street for the businesses. And so far, the closure has superseded all expectations.
It turns out that the storefronts, the retailers, the services that are on Moody Street have benefited from this shutdown because when folks are waiting to be seated at a restaurant, they'll walk around. There's a lot more foot traffic and people are discovering stores that they never noticed before. They're discovering new businesses that they hadn't ever realized was there. And so that makes it worthwhile for everybody, I think.
Melina Richards goes on to state that municipalities really need to step up and help these businesses. But Newton's restaurant owners do not get the feeling that the city wants to help.
Right now, if you guys don't help us survive, we're not going to make it through this. I mean, if we have snow, I just can't even imagine. None of my guests want to go inside of the establishment, even though we're supposedly able to open inside. The guests don't want to be inside right now. They want outdoor dining. And I just don't know how long we're going to be able to sustain this model. And it's just so incredibly important that we have support from the government. And right now, I just feel like we have not had direct lines of communication. We didn't have really good response times. It feels like every other community is, just a little bit more lenient in taking things and not making everything go through such crazy processes. And I feel like in Newton, we always have to go through these incredible hoops to get things done.
We really, feel like we're out alone in the middle of the ocean. There's no help coming. PPP is gone. Everything's gone. We're sitting there. Our livelihoods, our people, everybody, there's no more help. There's nothing. And so I think we have learned how to stretch a penny, not even a dollar. We've learned to do a lot with a little. So this small portion can help us with payroll. It can help sustain a family from not going out of business that works for us or not being employed. It can help us with PPE stuff that we need to keep our teams and our guests safe.
I think uniquely the restaurant business was positioned as one of the first hardest hit. We were considered an essential service, an essential business, so we had to pivot very quickly and be cognizant of safety issues, of keeping our staff well, our families well, and we did that. And my first email to the city to start brainstorming ideas about outdoor dining was April 14th. It is now October 1st. To have watched week after week the Globe highlight cool things happening in other locations, to hear it on the news, has been just demoralizing. The fact that I can go to another town and see a parklet that is expanded to a friendly neighbor, and yet we were told in Newton that no, it could only be this. We're constantly told in Newton no, and yet you walk to other cities and towns, and they evidently got a yes. And these are the same regulations. We've missed so many opportunities in the last 6 months. Hopefully there are some things we can do going forward, but it is as serious and as dire as it gets.
When you look at other municipalities surrounding neighboring municipalities and you do a quick analysis of what the support looked like during COVID, Newton is not going to win over new businesses when we have shut down storefronts where owners or operators are finally ready to come. So I think messaging needs to be that businesses will be supported.
Even with extended licensing for alcohol, a global waiver for outdoor dining, equipment like barriers for outdoor dining, and grants to help recovery, councilors ask the city going forward, what is the city going to do?
I think it all relates to finances, right? And the very precarious situation that restaurants find themselves. I'm probably not the best one to respond to the issues around the licensing fees, but there are others that can respond to that. But we've tried to do everything else on our end to make it easier on the regulatory side for these restaurants to survive.
Most councilors who spoke stated the city needs to do more, and what's happening now is not enough.
We need to give our restaurants a break on not a break, we waive the fees. We need to give them a break on their liquor licenses. This isn't forever. I'd hate to see the restaurants we have gone, and I agree. Another restaurant is just not going to come and take its place. It might, but I don't see it happening. We're going to lose the character of this city.
I have been very disappointed by the city's response, and I was really hoping that we would have opened streets long ago. As I said, I was so impressed with what Waltham did, and I'm just totally confused, and I'm concerned why we couldn't have done better.
This is whatever it takes, and I don't think the money involved here should be a consequence to us. When I read that the liquor license fee reduction would be about $200,000, I said, the value of these restaurants just monetarily to us far outstrips it's chump change.
I understand that the administration is trying to prepare long-term as well as short-term, but to me, this is exactly what Councilor Markowitz said. This is whatever it takes. We need to take some short-term risks as well in order to assure that some of us, frankly, are going to be with us longer term.
Councilor Mark Laredo asked Greg Reben to list priorities that businesses would like to see the council work on.
we'd like restaurants to be able to use more than the exact space in front of their restaurants to expand to outdoor seating.
Okay.
Right now, restaurant can't expand to the neighbors, even if the neighbor says it's okay, we'd like to have that. I'd like to see the outdoor public spaces that we've created look much better. So that Newton Center Triangle setup is a joke. Who would want to sit at those picnic tables in the Newton Center Triangle? It's ugly. It should be decorated with tents and lights and heat lamps and everything else. I would love to say to you, we'd love the heat lamps, but the reality is heat lamps are very scarce now. Every restaurant in the country has tried to buy one. By the time we know whether or not the state is going to give us money to buy heat lamps, they probably will not be available.
Now, it's up to the council to gather information and talk with the city's administration on ways to move forward. Jen Adams, Newton News, Newton Center.